fans that show up live
Right.
to
You
actually
know,
be here live and ask questions. That's who's watching right now.
right. Well, right now, nobody, but that will change very rapidly. I mean, most of the people watch the show in replay, on
Yeah,
Facebook
by
or on
far.
YouTube. But, we get, anywhere upwards of 50 people or more, which is what makes the show interactive
By
on
far.
YouTube.
Yeah.
But, we get, okay. Are you,
When
are
I
you
when I
recording
click on the
that there?
when I click on the Facebook tab, it immediately starts playing the audio. So
Right.
I have to jump in there real fast and mute it. So
Hmm.
sorry about that.
Okay. So we already got 5 people watching, and we're not going on for 10 minutes. What is it with you people? 7 people. This is amazing.
Momentum.
Yes, we already got five
What is
people
the
watching.
biggest audience you ever
And we're
had?
not going on.
Sorry again. Clicked on the
Biggest
YouTube
audience we
tab.
ever had. We had a huge audience the night we had Tom Kenny on, and
That's true.
but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the last. I mean, if we get a more than 100 live
That would be a
viewers,
lot.
that would be a lot for the live appearance.
Oh, that
Yeah.
would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have the podcast. I mean, we
Tara
easily
Strong, we had a lot.
Yeah, that's true. We did have a
I
lot
think
for
we
her.
probably had maybe 100 for her.
Yeah, and then but when we because we're on the Facebook page, because we're on YouTube,
Right.
because we're on
We
our own
podcast
webpage.
it.
Yeah, and we
Also.
have a podcast, and we're getting 3,000 downloads on that a month. So
Wow.
we're yeah. So
There's a
but
lot of
we've been
different
we've been doing this 11 years.
platforms.
Yeah, we were doing it before anyone knew what the hell they were doing.
Yeah, there weren't that many doing it. There weren't that many.
Okay.
Well,
Which would include us, by
let's
the way.
include us. Yeah, watch episode. Go into Google. Make yourself laugh. Go to YouTube sometime. Type in
Episode number
EWABS,
1.
EWABS. That was the old name. And then, episode 1 and watch
Uh
that.
huh. That is
I'm like
so
a deer in
cool.
headlights. There's a lot of mistakes. It's awkward and weird. We have live phone call-ins, asking questions. It's a whole different thing.
Asking your aunts, please call this number and ask
Yeah.
them
It's
something.
essentially, yeah.
Yeah,
We had somebody
But
calling. Yeah, we just had our friends call the show.
yeah.
I love that.
We
But
after
wait,
about a month or two of people getting people to trying to get people to call into the show, they're like, "Oh, this is a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to do this live call-in thing."
But things will evolve over time.
absolutely. But I believe that the best projects, best things that happen is when they born like this way without, pretending anything bigger,
Oh,
but just being yourselves. And,
right.
and I love that.
Yeah,
I love that because you're really helping a lot of people in the community. So that's awesome.
Well,
Thank you. Yeah.
yes.
Dan, where are you at?
I'm in Sherman Oaks, so
Oh,
I'm
sweet.
I'm just at the other end of the valley.
And you are also in Los Angeles, right, George?
Yeah, I'm actually technically I'm in Venice. I say technically because I'm not in the Venice-y part of Venice. I'm in
Okay,
the
you're not by the
the
beach,
the,
I'm
Sa-
in the
the Santa Monica.
I'm in the neighborhoody part of
the
Venice.
edge.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when you say when you live in Venice, everybody has,
Oh,
they
well.
immediately are like, oh,
They
Venice,
keep
I-
style.
what's it like? It's crazy down there, right? How about all those homeless?
Yeah, how do you do that? That's right.
You live far away from them.
Santa Clarita.
And you're in
Clara-
Santa Clarita, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
we
lot of VOs up there, a lot of voice actors in
Yes.
Santa Clarita.
Yes.
Do you have your own little meetup up there? The Santa Clarita Voice Actors Club? or
Yeah,
something?
right. Well, for some reason, that's been one of the most successful, like say successful thing about my studio is that it's in Santa Clarita. So people
Mhm.
who's newbie is like, oh, that's awesome. I don't have to, go all the way to Hollywood or whatever,
Right.
Burbank. So
So you're using your studio commercially.
for
You
some
you
reason, that's what is starting happening the last 4 5 months, and I'm so happy. But
so you're also a
again, I
studio
never
manager.
planned that. Yeah,
You're a studio manager.
yeah.
Well, so
I
you,
don't know. I don't want to put a name on that. I don't want to label that. Not just yet.
Booking people and coordinating.
That's scary, but it's happening.
Are you doing it 100% yourself, or do you have an assistant?
I have an assistant already. Yeah, I
Yeah, yeah,
have to. I
yeah.
have another
That's
guy, another girl in Colombia. She's bilingual, so that helps a lot.
yeah,
And supporting her financially,
yeah. Wow.
and for me, it's good to support. And she's learning as well, so that's good.
How do you pay her? You use a PayPal or something like that?
I have another, it's not PayPal, but it's Zoom. It's XOOM.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
I've heard of
pretty
that.
easy. It's like something like Western Union or something like that. And
Oh,
and
okay.
she picks up the money at the cashier in a supermarket. Hello.
Oh, okay. So she literally walks out of there with cash.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
She's happy every Friday.
Well, if she's happy and that works, yeah. We're so. I mean, even my kid doesn't hardly use cash anymore. I got her this green card. It's like a debit card, and I put the money in it, and I control where she spends it, and
Uh-huh.
she hardly ever gets cash. I gave her cash for her birthday. It was like it was a novelty.
yeah, you only
You
need
know,
cash in L.A. for one thing.
tacos.
No,
That's right.
Well, you don't even need that for tacos anymore.
that's right.
What?
Most of them take Venmo.
That's right.
Really?
They have like a little QR code on their stand
That is
nowadays.
true. I've seen
Scan the
that in a nail
Yeah.
salon.
No, but there's only one business that can only work in cash:
What is that?
the dispensaries.
Oh well, true. Yeah, yeah,
Not,
That is true.
not
They have
that I
ATMs.
know from personal experience.
yeah. They have ATMs, right.
Yeah, they really got to be
I
careful
don't
with
know.
those ATMs in there. But
Those businesses that have those businesses that have an ATM in the lobby and they don't take cash, it just feels so.
Awkward, right?
I mean,
Suspicious.
I know it's hard to make a living and run a business, but come on, that just feels dirty. It feels slimy. You're laundering money in here. Come on.
My husband works in one of them, so, but okay.
Money laundering company?
No,
He's a money launderer? No, no.
or is
no,
it just
no.
run a laundry?
no.
All righty.
The dispensaries, yeah.
Yeah. So all you folks that have already joined us, remember that you can ask questions. Just throw them in the chat room, and I think that Jeff Holman's out there
I'm
somewhere.
going to double check that Jeff is there. I haven't seen
Yeah. If not, then
see him say hi there. Hi, Jeff.
yeah.
If he's not there, I'm keeping a close eye on it. I'm the backup for Jeff, so if he's not there for some reason.
Right. He didn't say he wasn't going to be. So
No, he's usually on time and tells us if he's not coming. So
That's right.
He's very reliable.
Yeah.
If he's not on some major production with some
Yeah,
celebrity talent.
Darren Sorkin or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Our chat room guy is an actor, and he had a really nice role in this Being the Ricardos movie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about being in LA is you make friends who are actually doing stuff,
Yeah.
and you're at some major movie and go, hey, look, there's so and so, or they're on Jimmy Kimmel or something like that,
That's right. That's right.
and then you text them and go, hey, saw you on this, that was great.
I always watch the animation voice credits,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm always amazed at how few actually names I recognize.
Yeah,
It's like, it just goes to show you how massive the amount of talent, the talent pool is here. It's huge. How many people have we worked with? And I'm like, looking at the additional voice credit, like, or the ADR, I'm like, anybody? Oh, there's one guy. I know that guy. But it's most of the time I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody, most of the names.
yeah. Okay, so here's how we will start the show. We do a cold open with the three of us, and I'll say, how do we pronounce your last name?
Valentina Latina.
Latina.
I was hoping it rhymed. That wouldn't have made any sense otherwise.
Yeah. Okay, and we'll say, hey, you're our guest tonight. You wave and say hi, and I'll remind people we have questions, and then we'll go into the the opening credits. When we come out, it'll just be me and George. I will introduce you, and Sue will pop you into the picture. It's like magic.
This is kind of magic. What if I put
You
my
can do
headphones here just for
magic.
pretending? No,
Well,
not
that's
here.
fine.
Up to you.
Yeah.
Just pretending.
Oh,
No,
oh, you're
I
using
look
your
like
in-ear
I'm
monitors
shocking
this
myself.
week.
I'm using linear monitors. I usually use headphones just to make my hair look less unruly. I mean, I literally put my headphones
No
on just to keep my
behaving.
hair down.
Oh, okay.
But today I took a shower, so
Yeah, yeah. I don't have that issue. So
Well, I have the feeling this is gonna be fun. Thank you, guys.
well, we try
For
to
the
have fun.
laughs.
If it's not fun, why do it? And also our motto is utter shameless promotion. So if there's anything that you need to
Yeah.
promote,
yeah.
feel free to say, "Oh, I'm going to be at this place," or "I'm going to be doing
Right.
one of those."
Except for the laundry, right?
Well, you can
the
tell them
laundry
it's doing the
money.
laundry.
No, I'm
That's
just kidding.
fine.
I'm just kidding.
Alrighty. Okay, I guess
We're gonna keep an eye on Sue on this end and watch
Yeah.
for her to sign us in there. We're a minute away or less.
Oh, here it says 30 seconds. Okay, hold on. Oh, wow. Comments.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Is
can be
all the people
distracting.
here?
Just
Yeah,
to warn you.
pay no attention to those.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's up to you. You
shoot.
can.
Now I'm
But-
getting
Oh, there's
nervous.
Jeff. Okay.
I wasn't ready for this. Okay.
No, you don't have to look at the comment feed.
Yeah, you can go into private comments.
If you click
Yeah,
on
that's
private
If you
chat,
click on private chat, then we
That's
can
just
sort of
between us.
communicate with you too. All right. It looks like 5:00.
the commercials are about 2 to 3 minutes long, sometimes a little longer, so you'll have a little bit of time when we get to
Okay.
commercials.
Okay. All right.
right,
Sue
Sue's
is
getting
asking
our
for our
attention.
attention here. So,
She wants to start.
okay.
3, 2.
Hey, it's time for VoiceOver Body Shop. It's great to have everybody back for another week of great talk here on our show. And tonight, George and I are thrilled to welcome Valentina Latyna. How you doing this night today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for this amazing, moment to share with all my American audience, of course, and Latinos who are watching us today. Thank
Oh,
you, George
great.
and Dan.
Yeah, well, as Groucho Marx once said, it's early yet. Anyway, so if you've got a question for Valentina about all the stuff that we're going to talk about, feel free to throw it in the chat room. Jeff Holman is sitting in there somewhere and typing on your questions and relaying to us, and we will get to those in just a little while. And so why don't we get the show on the road? You ready, Mr. Whitam?
I'm ready to go.
All right, it's time for VoiceOver Body Shop right now.
From the outer reaches, they came, bearing the knowledge of what it takes to properly record your voiceover audio. And together, from the center of the VO universe, they bring it to you now. George Whitam, the engineer to the VO stars, a Virginia Tech grad with the skills to build, set up, and maintain the professional VO studios of the biggest names in VO today. And you, Dan Leonard, the voiceover home studio master, a professional voice talent with the knowledge and experience to help you create a professional sounding home VO studio. And each week, they allow you into their world, bringing you talks with the biggest names in the voiceover world today, letting you ask your questions, and giving you the latest information to make the most of your voiceover business. Welcome to VoiceOver Body Shop.
VoiceOver Body Shop is brought to you by VoiceOverEssentials.com, home of Harlan Hogan signature products. Source Elements, remote studio connections for everyone. VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your VO website isn't a pain in the butt. VOHeroes.com, become a hero to your clients with award-winning voiceover training. JMC Demos, when quality matters. And VoiceOver Extra, your daily resource for VO success.
And now, live to drive from their super secret clubhouse and studio in Sherman Oaks, California. Here are the guys.
Well, hello there. I'm Dan Leonard,
And I'm George Whitam.
and this is VoiceOver
Body Shop.
or VO BS. Yes. Well, it's great to have everybody back here after a couple of weeks. It's like we try to do the show, we do it every other week, and then the opposite Monday when we throw Tech Talk out there, it's like there's nothing to do tonight. I guess I'll watch TV.
There's more TV to watch lately.
There sure is. And of course, if you're watching this in replay, we have no idea what's going on in Europe right now. I mean, we know today on Monday, but we don't know what's happening out there. Of course, our thoughts go out to all our Ukrainian friends who are under siege right now. And
I'm wearing this army T-shirt in salute to the military who are
green here too,
and the civilians.
Yes,
who are standing up for their country, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
and nail biting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, my family is from that part of the world. My father's family is from around Kiev, so I have a bit of an attachment to it. Not that I've ever been there. Anyway, speaking of going on around the world, we have a great guest tonight. She's going to be joining us from Santa Clarita, which is, it's Los Angeles. It's all the same place. But Valentina Latina is a Colombian-American award-winning actor, voiceover actress based in Los Angeles. 2-time Savois Award winner as Best Voiceover in the U.S. Wow, talk about big time. Best Actress short for Defenseless in 2020 in five film festivals. And for years, she's been the official voice of big celebrities such as Ava Longoria, Brooke Shields, Giada De Laurentiis, Tiffany Haddish for the Latin market. I was going to say, you don't just talk for them. I mean, they have their own voices. But anyway, let's welcome to the show, because we've been looking forward to this for a while, Valentina Latina. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing just great and very honored to be here with you guys. And yes, so happy sharing this moment with you and all around the world listening to us and watching us today.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you with us tonight. Now, you're a voice actor, you're an actor. You've done a lot of screen work, but we'll get into that a little bit. But you are, like many Americans, not from America. But what I tell people, what I think about Americans is whether you were born in Sicily or you were born in Botswana, if you come to this country, that makes you an American because you're taking a risk, and Americans are risk takers, and that's what makes Americans. So you came from Colombia. Tell us about your life in Colombia before you came here.
Well, actually, was very helpful having my dad as a journalist and a newspaper, and also my mom. She's still a soap opera actor, and that helped a lot in my career, having this inspiration around. So she was very aware of my education, about classes for painting, dancing, ballet, and acting, and etc. But at some point, my childhood was kind of frustrated. I'm gonna use this moment to express myself.
Okay, go for it.
Because it was very pushing, it was a kind of like a manager. We say that the kind of mom was like, come on, stand up and do this, do that. Some point, as a child, was like, okay, wait, I wanna play with my friends. I wanna go to school like a regular kid. But after 30 years, something, being involved in the entertainment industry, I just have to say thank you, Mom. Thank you because maybe she saw something, some kind of talent, and definitely just thankful for that type of education. And that's how exactly I started in voiceover. I remember I was in this studio. She was shooting this telenovela, which is a soap opera. Mm-hmm. And so she finished. I was 8 years old, and I clearly remember we were walking down the hall looking for the parking, and this guy was like looking around like for something, and my mom was like, hey, are you okay? And he's like, hey, Rocio, can I borrow your daughter for a second? And she's like, yeah, sure.
Okay.
So that's how it really started. It was just the right thing, the right moment, the right people. Because I remember entering this professional sound studio. It was my very first time in front of a microphone. And I remember the guy on the other side of the glass giving me directions and telling me, "Can you say this line? But can you laugh? Can you say it harder, louder?" Or and I was like, "What am I doing? This is cool." I remember I was having a lot of fun, and after that, I became the voice of doing the promos for the only show we have for kids back in the 90s. So I did that for years. Of course, as a child, you don't know that's a job. But
Yeah.
They're not paying you directly.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's it. That's how it really happened.
Do you remember going from feeling like it was sort of like structured play to you're actually doing a job? Do you remember how old you were like when that happened? When you knew you were like
Yeah,
really making money?
talking about the crossover, and because after that it was promos, radio commercials, and dubbing. And for Latin America, the dubbing industry is a huge part of our voiceover
I'm
industry.
sure.
um, and so when I came to Los Angeles, I used to be the voice for Food Network Latin America. So I was running 5 shows, and the studio was like, "Hey Val, can you just buy a microphone? Can you go to the studio? They want you to keep recording." I was like, "Dude, no. Do you know how much it costs a microphone here, or having a decent acoustic, whatever?" Like, um, so I was like, "Wait, so if that's important, is because this is an actual job." And so far, for the last 15 years, it's been a hobby or something. I have some income, but really, I was just a student, a theater student. So for me, it was more like, okay, I have money for, as a theater student, I have money for this wardrobe or wig or whatever I needed. And
As opposed to
not
just
until I come
food.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
As opposed to just food.
exactly.
Which is always,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah, that was my shock, really. And I'm
Yeah.
and I'm sure, for the people who's starting in Latin America, this career nowadays is different, because I'm talking about only 12 years ago. But believe it or not, 12 years ago, it wasn't this big in Latin America. The respect our industry has, it's been growing through the last 10 years. And yeah, I'm sure I'm not wrong on that.
Yeah. So you came here in 2010. What prompted you to come this way?
My heart was absolutely broken by this cheaty guy. So I was trying to
Oh.
escape. That's the truth. And I was like, "Oh man, I need to get out of my country. I don't want to see this guy anymore." But wait, this offer of doing film and New York Film Academy, and doing more about camera and everything. So that was another excuse, of course, improving my English as well. And Los Angeles was the first city came to my budget, and it was fine for me, and I was like, "Okay, let's do it for a year." And it's been 12.
And you're
What happened?
still here. So how did so you come to another country, to a new city, to a totally different culture for the most part. How did you make that adjustment?
I'm still doing it. I'm
Oh,
still
okay.
working on it. And to be honest, it's a big step, especially as I say, because voiceovers, first of all, in Latin America, they're very anonymous. Can I say that? Like, you don't really ask yourself, "Oh, who's that voice?" Or yeah, the career for voiceovers could be just completely, I don't know, like, people doesn't really know, and you can be in the industry easily your entire life. And these type of things, like sharing information with your colleagues, or putting videos, because of course technology has been working on it and helping a lot, but over there is not that common. It's not a very common thing to do. You just go to the studio and you just go home. and nobody knows what do you do for a living. And yeah, so seeing the voiceover industry here, you guys are allowing much more, having that presence with your name, with your brand, with your, your pictures, or you put, your website and da 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 da. And that's a big thing. That's a big difference we have.
Hmm. Yeah, that's it's fascinating that that nobody really. Of course, we like to say that there are no A-lister voice actors. There are A-lister actors who do voice work, but the rest of us are doing all the other things that are out there. What types of material are you doing? Is it strictly commercial, or are you doing narrations? Are you still doing dubbing, or what are all the
I
different things that you're doing?
Yeah, I always said that dubbing is my really my big school in voiceover. And but after that, through the years, that's a good thing also, like to be alert, to be aware what is going on with your voice and what is going on with the type of auditions you really feel you're doing something and you're actually booking. And it's been mostly animation and video games. And so when I put that on the table and I say, okay, I'm booking this and this, and now I want to, or this project calls my attention. But guess what? That's very close to my education as a theater actor. So I think that's a great compliment. But I never planned this. The good thing is that you can use whatever tools you have from your background, or something you actually liked, and complement each other. So I am really looking forward being more present in the video game and animation industry.
Yeah. Once again, if you're just joining us, where have you been? But other than that, our guest tonight is Valentina Latina, and she is a Latin American voice actress, but you also do a lot of English stuff, right? And we'll get into that in a second. But if you've got a question for her, based on what we're talking about, throw it in the chat room, whether you're on Facebook or if you're watching on YouTube Live, there's a chat room in there. You can throw your questions in there, and we'd love to hear from you. And we know you're out there because we see the numbers going up and up and up watching the show.
Ooh.
Anyway, so we were talking about dubbing, and how did the pandemic affect you? I mean, I know suddenly everything had to get dubbed. I know all the networks were desperate for material. In various languages, I've been dubbing a lot of stuff from Arabic, from Lebanon and India and Egypt and stuff like that. Did the pandemic have an impact on the type of stuff you were doing?
Actually, in a very good way. And
Good.
I'm glad, because there is something voiceover in America, they were ready for it. And I'm so happy, really, having the kind of support like you guys do, and many other sources you can have, if you're part of the union or you're regular taking classes, etc. And my surprise was like, oh my god, finally I can use Source Connect more than once a month.
Almost pays for itself then, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But really, I had Source Connect. I really was using it like once every 3 months, 4 months, because most of my work was like going, driving to the studio, etc. And the pandemic was like, okay, that's great. I already have this, and now it's time maybe to invest. Oh, maybe I need another camera, or another extra monitor, or whatever. So that's a good thing. Unfortunately, talking about Latin America, it's the opposite. You know, regular voiceovers, that it's not that common. People has their home studios or with a professional acoustic or professional gear, and that's pretty sad, because it was like, man, I've been in the industry for the last 40 years, and studios close and they're only hiring people with this kind of microphone or whatever. And so yes, that's the big difference.
Yeah. So now I remember the question I had originally asked there. That is, what type of work are you doing? Obviously you're doing dubbing work. What other types of stuff?
Yeah, dubbing and video games and animation.
and animation. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh,
What
George?
of that is the most technically
George.
challenging, demanding for you of those three?
And you're talking about like technical.
Yeah.
Yeah, like as an actor, what do you have to the most tech to deal with when you're doing jobs? Is it animation? Is it games? Where is the one that you're like, this is this is going to be a big pain?
Yeah, big pain is always going to be in video games. As you know, not only your preparation because your instrument will be
Tech,
exposed the whole time, and it's
yeah.
very easy if you don't have the proper training to just make some damage to your cords, and also like things to use your gain. How are you going to use your gain when you're screaming and when you're not, or you have to whisper this whole time and you don't know that, and or you just forget to do it to change your gain. And
Do
after
they
you're
expect
trying
you
to
to
send
mess
it.
with your gain a lot? Do they when you're doing the
Yes,
games, do they expect you to play with your gain
it depends,
setting a
but
lot?
really I have this studio in Spain. They're in Spain, and when they send me over, they put like these huge marks, like please be aware, like this is whispering, brrr. And you have to do same lines 3 times. So whispering the whole time, then screaming, projecting, same lines, da 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 da.
Wow.
So yeah, that's that I would say video games. It's more exhausting. Also.
Yeah, yeah. Video games is the tremendous range of stuff because you could be like chopping somebody's head off and really getting into the emotion of that, but and how do you adjust for that? So
Are those
there are
sessions typically
yeah.
directed sessions? You guys have both done some of that.
Not really. No, no, no. Because if I do it, well, the thing is, I haven't done in English video games, but in
Hmm.
Spanish. All my credits are in Spanish, and you really never see the character most of the time, which is like, okay, I'm gonna imagine this lady is like, what? You take choices. Uh, that's the best way. Like, okay, I'm gonna imagine she is a huge lady, and so you take choices, and they just give you the lines, and so I'm responsible to really work on the acting according to the description of what is more about the character, right?
Right.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's a big responsibility. Now that I think about it, wow.
It's acting.
How do you do
Yeah.
that? I don't know. Yeah, it's acting, and that's the thing. If you don't really know how to control your emotions, and the character is or crying the first scene, and after that you're really in tears, like, okay, now you have to save those tears because you have to do it 10,000 more times.
Yeah, yeah. I did one a couple weeks ago where I was eaten by birds. Imagine what that was like.
What the heck? It's what kind of acting? I mean, how do
Wait,
you
what kind of bird?
imagine that?
It was just it was a very
Pigeons.
mystical thing from yeah they were digital birds, so it didn't really hurt.
But definitely when the sessions are directed, it helps, and everything is much more
Oh, absolutely.
smoother and everything, and you have, like, yeah, of course.
Well,
What, we,
go ahead,
we
George.
know from doing some tech support for you, that you use Pro Tools. And we have this feeling about Pro Tools that it's too complicated. Voice actors don't need it. So, how did you end up landing on using Pro Tools for your studio?
Yeah, right. I don't know why I still have it. I don't need it. I don't need it. Just kidding. And well, I'm still learning. I really encourage my students as well to learn and don't give up, because apparently it's so hard. It's just apparently. But once you really know how to use it, as at least the basic stuff, or for whatever you need it, you're part of the professional industry. It's so good when I have clients all on the other side of the world, and you can send easily, and you are speaking same language, and I think that's the main thing. um and we have to be according what is happening. So I'm not gonna say like, yes, I send you that to GarageBand, okay, whatever. uh no. That's not gonna happen. So Pro Tools, although I'm still learning, George the Tech has been illuminating my studio and a lot of troubles and issues I had at the moment with certain clients. And George just always have the right answer right there.
Well, if it's not me, and it usually isn't me, it's usually one of the other guys on my team answering those 911 calls when they come up. But yeah,
And when you
that's
say 911, I have to say it's literally 911. Like you can call 1 in the morning, 2 p.m., and 2 a.m., and they really are there to help you. So thank you
which
guys.
somebody's willing to answer the phone
At
most of
2
the
o'clock
time,
in the morning.
which blows my mind. Yes, I think Dan, you may have done that once.
Yeah, I did work with somebody. They were in Spain, and I had to work with them at midnight. And my wife's like, "What are you doing at midnight?" Um, Once again, we're talking with Valentina Latyna, and if you got a question, throw it in the chat room because we want to hear from you guys. That's why we do this show, so you can ask the questions. But of course, I like to ask the questions too. So you have a career, but you're bilingual, obviously, since you're speaking to us. Do you do any English work, or is it strictly in Spanish?
Oh yes, dubbing. It's my surprise. Actually, my first dubbing in English was a Latin America show called El Chapo for Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that that's very, I call it magic thing, because mics, that's what they do magic. The casting director called me and she's like, "You're gonna play El Chapo's mom for the dubbing." And I'm like, "Okay, dude, I'm not even close to be 70 something." And the lady is, "No, you have the voice for that." "Yes, but I don't really speak English. Like, I don't have the confidence to do dubbing in English. Really? 4 seasons?" "Yes, you do. And we need you." And then I understood, not only because, the historic side is that Americas, you guys don't really need to dub much of Latin America projects into English. Let's say it, right? But because they wanted to keep the American audience with the flavor. What is this from? In this case, it's a Mexican story, and the accent will help with the character. So I played El Chapo's mom, 4 seasons, and you can watch it on Netflix. And I had just a blast. I learned so much. There's a huge difference too in the dubbing, and then that you know this, that you guys use more like a karaoke. I call it like a
Oh,
karaoke thing,
makes
right?
it a lot easier. Yes,
Exactly.
yeah.
So
It's
I'm old school. So I
three
was,
beeps and go.
no, that doesn't exist in Latin America, my friend.
Uh,
Well, I'm old school, so I only have, I used to always have my, still have, or scripts, and we just fill the script with. Then she cries here, then she laughs here, then she screams here, blah, 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 and then we have our paper the whole time here. And the director or engineer is like, "Okay, late." So you always have to start on time. And I also learned, of course, that I'm not a science person, but the light is faster than the sound, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
mhm.
So if I am only listening or guiding myself because the dialogue already started, I'm already late. Have to always keep
So you have to
looking.
anticipate. You have to
Exactly. And looking
jump
to the
ahead
character.
just the right amount.
Exactly. So I have that eye and that ear, but just because it really was my school in dubbing. And when I came here doing the chapel, that was actually like 7, 8 years ago. Um, I was like, why do I need 3 bits for?
Mm,
I know when the lady will start talking.
right.
Probably seemed kind of silly to have to hear beep beep beep. And you're like, What? Okay.
But then after so many projects, I'm already, I got used to. So it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's good.
Once again, we're talking with Valentina Latina, and we are talking about all sorts of stuff. A lot of it dealing with the Latin American market, which, of course, is huge, not only in Latin America, here in California and across the United States. It's been a growing industry, and I take it you've seen tremendous growth yourself, since you arrived here, in the Latin American market.
Like what? Sorry.
In the Latin American market, you've seen a tremendous growth here in the last
Yes, and
10
I'm
years.
those are the kind of things I am thankful and very happy with the streaming and all the platforms are currently around the world, not only Netflix but Amazon or HBO, Hulu, and they are really looking for new representation and new shows. So I really enjoy seeing indie projects from Philippines or from not only from Colombia but Peru and Bolivia, Dominican Republic, so many countries that for sure they always had talented people there and working on their projects or documentaries, etc. But now because the streaming, they're hungry for more content. They're given the opportunity to those, and that's amazing. That's great. How the industry is, exactly as you say, Dan, growing. And for Latin America, there's also a big door to new stories. Like, for instance, you have this cliche idea, oh, Colombians only drugs and narco dealers, or ladies like this and that. And guess what? There are so many other stories we can tell, and there is so many other things that happen in Latin America, and I think that's a big thing also.
Yeah. Well, it's a big place. South America's a big place. Central America's a big place. And you're absolutely right. It's fascinating to... I think this is probably one of the best things about all this, is that we're getting to see cinema and television from other countries, dubbed into English or stuff that is from all over the world, and seeing the talented filmmakers and directors and producers that are everywhere. I mean, stuff coming out of Europe, stuff coming out of South America, coming out of the Middle East, because I've worked on a lot of that stuff, and it's quality stuff. So they've clearly been studying what goes on in Hollywood,
right?
And they've been applying it to their own stuff, and I think that's great. And
Turkey, right?
Turkey. Oh
my God!
Been watching a few Turkish. I guess you couldn't call them telenovelas because they're from Turkey, but they certainly seem to take on that flavor. It seems like the same characters, the same emotion, only it's not Colombia or Mexico or something like that. Kind of fascinating. We're going to take a break right now, and if you have a question for Valentina, throw it in the chat room, and we will be happy to make sure that she gets to answer that. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Valentina Latina here on VoiceOver Body Shop. Don't go away.
Don't go away.
This is Bill Ratner, and you're enjoying VoiceOver Body Shop with Dan Leonard and George Whitam. VOBS.TV.
Well, hello there. I bet you weren't expecting to hear some big-voiced announcer guy on your new orientation training for Snapchat, were you?
This is Virgin Radio. Well, okay, we're not that innocent.
There's jeans for wearing and there's jeans for working. Dickies, because I ain't here to look pretty.
She's a champion of progressive values, a leader for California, and a voice for America.
It's smart. It's a phone. It's a smartphone. But it's so much more. The files are ready. Don't forget to pick up the eggs. What time is hockey practice? Check out this song.
It's the end of the road for Rick.
It's just you and me, Rick.
When hope is lost.
The i8 from BMW. Who said saving the planet couldn't be stylish?
Hey, it's J. Michael Collins. Bet you think I'm going to try and sell you a demo now, huh? I think they speak for themselves. But I will give you my email. It's jmichael@jmcvoiceover.com. Now, if Dan will stop waxing his mustache for a minute, we'll get back to the show.
Spring is coming, and despite what Major League Baseball decides to do,
It's high time you got your authentic VO baseball cap. Top quality fabric and embroidery with an infinitely adjustable strap tells the world just what it is that you do. VoiceOver Essentials VO Gear baseball caps are 100% cotton chino twill, garment washed, unstructured caps manufactured by StyleMaster and feature sewn eyelets, pre-curved visor, and a metal adjustable tri-glide buckle on the adjustable strap. Available in black with their exclusive VO voice bubble design embroidered in red and white on the front and a bright red "as heard on TV" logo on the backside. Show the world, or at least the people in your town, what your profession is. They're always a great conversation starter. VoiceOver Essentials VO baseball caps. Get yours exclusively at voiceoveressentials.com.
Hey, it's David H. Lawrence, the 17th, and we talk a lot in this business about moving forward with our career, getting more information. We often don't talk about simply getting started. It can be one of the most immovable objects in our life, getting out of our own way and just simply taking the first step. And if you're watching this podcast, VoiceOver Body Shop, for some tips on how to get started in voiceover, or to change something about your voiceover career, or to increase your knowledge in a certain area, check out VOHeroes.com's Getting Started in Voiceover. If you go to VOHeroes.com/start, you'll get all the information. It's really cheap, and I give you a lot to get started in the business, but you might also learn something if you've been in the voiceover business for a while. VOHeroes.com/start. That's VOHeroes.com/start.
Yeah, hi, this is Carlos Alazraqui, the voice of Rocco, and you're watching VoiceOver Body Shop.
Hey, we're back here on VoiceOver Body Shop. Our guest is Valentina Latina, and we're talking about the Latin American market and whatever else goes along with that. And if you've got a question for her, and I know she's very accomplished and has spoken to a lot of other people, just get in the chat room, and Jeff Holman will get that question to us. And we've got a bunch that we're going to get to here in just a little bit. Do you do a lot of your own marketing? I mean, or do you have an agent, or are you managed? How is it that you get your work?
Well, we definitely, as a Latinos, trying to understand what the agent does for me. Why do I need an agent? We don't have that in Latin America. That doesn't exist. Only exists for actors, for on-camera actors, and they're called more like managers, and that's what they do. They find jobs for you and auditions. But again, when I came here, I was like, for what? I just go to the studio and I say, hey, I've been dubbing for so long, or I'm the voice for this brand, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't that easy. So I understood I definitely had to have an agent, and also to understand how it works, not only for the California marketing, but to know that you also can have another agent in different states. And so that's how I work. Although the last 2 years, I feel this been changing, and I've been more one-on-one with certain clients, that it goes like they find me straight because my website or even social media, which I was like, okay, what I'm going to post about it. I'm a camera actor, so yeah, definitely is good to have certain pictures like as a reference for casting directors. But really, casting directors and voiceover, they really need to see myself in a picture, and I think the tools, social media such as TikTok or Instagram, if you use it properly, because this is not only to have fun and then make funny things, you can actually work on a very, very big community is constantly looking for new talents or people who's trending. And that's a big surprise. And it's been hard for me, really. I'm not a big fan of posting every second, but I try. And through the years, of course, I have now another person who's helping me, and yeah, that's a big change in the marketing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Where do you generally post stuff? What's your your platform of your favorite platform for doing that?
For old people,
Yeah.
Facebook.
Well, let's not take it too far here.
For hey, there's nothing wrong to say old people. It's my favorite people, by the way.
We just refer to ourselves as seasoned citizens. So
Seasoned
Okay.
citizens.
Hold on.
I like that.
Flavored, seasoned people. It's Facebook, right? Because there is a lot of groups, and I'm so happy. Also, is part of our community to see each other and being in touch with many of them around the world. And but Instagram is actually the platform I use mostly, and it really helps, and it's surprising. Like this studio in Australia the other day was like, "Hey Val, I've seen you using Source Connect. Can we have a session? This and that." And I was like, "Okay, that's interesting."
that's great when they call you without you even knowing they're out there. It's
Right?
like, I heard you can do this, and that's always fabulous.
Interesting to hear that they're finding you on social and then seeing that you are equipped to do these jobs, and they're like, let's reach out to her. She's
Right.
a voice we like. She's got a studio. She's obviously serious, and other markets and countries are probably going to do that a lot more.
That's right. That's right. And also when I share time, like personal time, or I'm helping a casting director and seeing them going through social media, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like the first time was like, no, you have to look for professional people. So you go to agents, you go to their website. No, I need them now, and I like this. So hashtag bilingual actor, brand, and there is only 100 dudes posting with that hashtag. Let's just give an example.
That helps.
Okay, so I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe I should start doing that. That's my tip. The tip of the day.
Creative, very
Yes.
creative.
All right, we got a couple of questions from our vast worldwide audience that is jamming into our site here. And George, why don't you take the one from Terry Briscoe there?
Sure. Terry asks, Valentina, what would you say is the biggest difference between acting in front of the camera and voice acting behind the mic? And do you have a preference for one over the other?
Wow, that's a great question. Hi, Terry. I don't think there is any difference, because if you are only a voiceover or starring voiceover who thinks your body is not part of it, you're completely wrong, my friend. Because guess what? Your body it's going to be directly connected to your brain, and for so many things with your emotions. So if I'm angry, if I'm maybe not have the conscious the entire time, but definitely your hands are gonna move. Definitely your body is gonna, stand in a different way when you are part of the army, or when you are injured, or when you are the mom and you're trying to give an advice to your son. And that's the other part. I always invite or encourage my students, like, take some theater classes. It's the best laugh you can have in your life, even though you're never going to be in front of a camera. But to have the conscience where your hands are and how you put your feet, right, it totally helped. It really helped. So I wouldn't. Well, the big difference, of course, is about technical things. You have to know a different world, different vocabulary, and yeah, we say the things in a different way. And you, of course, don't have to be aware how do you dress up. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
That
And what is the
basis
other
of
part?
acting on camera is so valuable, I think, to the voice actors. There's so many voice actors who are successful, I think, because they've had that training of on-camera acting or theater acting.
Exactly.
I, I hear it. I work with thousands of voice actors, and I'm not a coach and I'm not an actor, but I know an actor when I hear one, and when it's just something about it. It's just they impart that character, and having that training is huge, huge. You're totally right on the money there.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the fact that if you understand a camera, and that you're not playing to a camera, unless of course you're doing a commercial where you're like talking straight to a camera, you're playing to somebody else. You're playing a scene. You don't play to the camera. You play to the other person in the scene. I think a good actor is going to realize that the microphone is the exact same thing. That you don't pay attention to the microphone. You're just paying attention to what's in black and white in front of you with a few pen marks and stuff, and that helps a lot. Have you found that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different translation, I would say. You can translate in, in front of a camera, same emotion, because let's say the character fall in love, but even though you don't have the other character and in front of you, now you have to use more your imagination. But to have the training definitely makes a big difference. And what I'm saying is the people who's coming from radio and people who's been only behind the microphone, it's usually very afraid to be on stage or in front of a camera, and that's obvious. It is scary. But don't be scared. The theater is your friend. And the best lab, really, I really recommend to everyone, any kind of profession, really, and human being, it really helps doing some theater once in life. And I don't know which one would be my favorite. It's hard. It's hard. Well, sometimes voiceover, because I don't need to put makeup or shower sometimes. Oops.
We won't tell anyone. It's just between us.
George is like, wait, what? I showered today and my hair is on point.
This is as good as it gets right here until my buddy Arch comes over and cuts my hair again. How about Tag?
Go for it. Let's see here. Valentina, this is from Tag Studio. Loved your amazing, engaging presentation at One Voice Dallas.
Aww.
Happy to see you again this evening. I'd love to know more about how you like your studio chair. Have you had it long? And do you recommend it?
Your studio chair is color coordinated.
You fit right in.
It's a fashion statement. It's everything.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Sponsored by this guy. Okay.
It's got a headrest. It's got a pillow.
Yeah, and I have, this is amazing. I have another pillow here, and
wow.
I know all of us, we need it, huh?
Is that a lumbar?
Yes.
At the back.
That the guy really helps my back. I don't know, I found it very, very comfortable, and I know it's a gamer chair. I'm not a gamer, but you can stay here. Like traded hours, I'm just fine.
Were you in a place? Were you in a store that happened to sell them? How did you happen to know? You must have sat in one at some point and then thought, I like this.
Yeah, I tried once for a gamer friend, and I was like, dude, this is amazing. And he's like, yes, because I play professionally, and it's easily 10 hours a day, and you have to be as comfortable as you can. And I was like, okay, let's try that. So yeah. For some reason, this is a big tool also because my back was killing me. And we always talk about microphones and everything, but let's talk about chairs. We need to take care of our backs.
No question.
Yeah.
I've got a new one myself now.
Gamer chair, that makes a big difference. Of course, this is what I do, my editing and everything inside my booth. I rather not sitting. It's more like a personal thing, and I like to stand up the whole time.
Be more physical.
Yeah, more physical. Well, however, if I'm doing an audiobook, of course, I take my breaks and I sit. It's a small chair.
Yeah. Have you been doing many audiobook titles? Or is that something
Yes.
just to fill the time, or?
Yes, a lot of audiobooks, mostly for kids, and I like it because I'm a mom as well. So it's good to have that language and to test myself. If my daughter is paying attention and is not getting bored by my voice.
That's a great point. If you can entertain and keep your own kid attention, then you're doing something right because they're going to
Right?
get bored of you pretty quick.
No question. George, why don't you get the next one from Jay Horace?
Jay
there?
Horace, yeah. He says, Valentina, you have a very genuine, bright energy. What kind of chair are you sitting in? Well, I think we know now.
covered that
but he
one,
says
yeah.
it looks like a Recaro seat that I had in an older BMW back in the day. It does. Those chairs are definitely modeled after the Recaro racing seats from Cars, for sure. And you did kind of answer this already, but tell us more about your setup. So he asks, do you work in a booth or in a closet? And then which are your primary microphones that you use?
Yeah, I do have the microphones. I have the shotgun Sennheiser, the 416.
41.6.
Yep.
Yeah, and the TLM 103 is my best friend forever. I'm very thankful about especially with my narrations and dubbing. It really, I hear is a difference, and whenever I'm doing more commercials, I use the other one. But it all depends. It really sometimes the client prefers one than the other one. And that was a question. I forgot. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh no, just that you're using a
What
you're using a
microphones I have.
booth, and then what
Yeah.
kind of microphones?
Oh
do you
yeah.
have?
So I have a booth. As many of my colleagues, I started in my closet. I get rid of all my, clothes, and I put these acoustic panels, and then it was the moment I had to really move on and do it more professional.
Well, as we like to say, no one needs to see how the sausage is made. All those clothes actually work really well.
That is true. That my husband the other day, he found this picture, and I was literally like almost bent. I don't know how did I do those bookings really. And he was like, here, these are the beginnings. Keep this picture because it's a good reminder that with all that uncomfortable space and cheap microphone, you're here. So that's a good thing, like, okay, yeah, maybe they don't need to, they didn't need to see how I was making this sauce. But it was also part of okay, now I need to be more comfortable. Now I have visitors in my studio. Now if I'm teaching a class or doing something, I'm definitely not going to walk the people through my closet anymore.
Hey, another one slipped in actually.
Yeah,
It's
from
actually kind of an
Dave G.
interesting question. I
Great
don't know
question.
if you have a good answer for this, but Dave G says, okay, let's turn the tables.
Ooh.
Give some advice to Anglos who want to book more work in English and Latin countries. Is that possible? Is that happening?
I love
And
it.
how do I find those jobs? No, he didn't say that, but he just wanted some advice.
You are going to be surprised, but the amount of castings and auditions and people in Latin America looking for Native American speakers is huge. And you guys have no presence, really, so far.
I'm going to make a note of that.
I think Dan is pulling out his notebook. He
Please,
is finding the one
because,
pencil with a tip on it.
even though I already said that we don't have agents, unfortunately, but in Mexico, yes, they have 2 or 3 agents that are big people. Connie Troncoso, I don't know if there is any way I can put this on the chat or can I do
You
that?
can type it into the
Tony
comments.
Troncoso.
if
Well,
you
I'm not
like.
gonna. Okay, Tony Troncoso. If maybe any of my colleagues in Latin America can put that on the chat, that would be great. I'm very helpful. She's one of the agents in Mexico, for example. Directorio de Talentos, that is another big agent in Mexico. But mostly are the how's it called? Yeah, the agencies. The how do you call this in English? Um, they do the marketing for the companies.
Public relations.
Yeah, public relations. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that's a great start. Like just sending your demo. You don't really need to introduce yourself in a poor Spanish. If you don't feel comfortable, please don't do it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is it important as an American with an English accent, American accented voice, do you need to have some Spanish under your belt
No,
to
no, no, no,
market
really.
to these
No.
countries?
As long as you really can just understand the very basic, like what's your rate and for how long and what will be the platform or for how long will be used, etc. The usage. That's just the very basic thing. So it's more one-on-one, really, the clients. But the other big source for us, and we were talking about this before started with Dan and George, is the unions. So there is three big unions in Latin America. There's Mexican one, and you don't really need to be part of it, but just to be aware they exist. And they're usually looking for American ones. The ACL is the Colombian union, and they're all the time. We have a group chat on WhatsApp. They're like, "Hey, I'm looking for Americans. Hey, I'm look." So we are like, "Okay, let me call my friend who's bilingual because she was born in Miami, but then traveled to Colombia and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Wait, but where all the American? Well, my American colleagues." Anytime I'm trying to help another casting director, I go through my Facebook page or Instagram again, and I say, "Hey, looking for Native Americans." So yeah, but not talking about the Argentinian one that you, Dan, have some information there. That is different.
Yes, no, I remember hearing that they have to you have to be licensed there. I mean, the rules in the different South American countries are all fascinating. Latina, it has been absolutely fascinating having you with us tonight, and we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. And if people want to get a hold of you, or if you're doing any teaching or any webinars, are you doing any of that kind of stuff?
I do. March 5, if I'm not wrong, but you can check on Real Voice LA. Teaching this, how to set up your home studio. It's more for people who also wants to do this crossover from Latin America to the American marketing. And also with Centauro, which is one of the biggest dubbing studio houses we have in Sao Paulo, Mexico, Colombia, and Miami. Centauro Producciones. I'm the dubbing teacher as well there. And I'm very happy to be connected with my community. And for, of course, not only Latinos, but also American that I'm trying to connect more and more. Because this industry is not only growing, but getting stronger. And we really need to keep educating new generations. And this is very, very important that you guys also having this space. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks for joining us
you.
tonight. Valentina Latina. All righty. George and I will be right back after these messages to wrap things up and to rack it up for Tech Talk. So don't go away.
Bye.
Bye.
You're still watching VOBS?
In these modern times, every business needs a website. When you need a website for your voice acting business, there's only one place to go. Like the name says, voiceactorwebsites.com. Their experience in this niche webmaster market gives them the ability to quickly and easily get you from concept to live online in a much shorter time. When you contact voiceactorwebsites.com, their team of experts and designers really get to know you and what your needs are. They work with you to highlight what you do. Then they create an easily navigable website for your potential clients to get the big picture of who you are and how your voice is the one for them. Plus, VoiceActorWebsites.com has other great resources like their practice script library and other resources to help your voiceover career flourish. Don't try it yourself. Go with the pros. VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your VO website shouldn't be a pain in the you-know-what.
Well, if you've been listening, you've probably heard some stories from Valentina Latina about how Source Connect is a big part of her life, in her studio life and her production life. Just even having Source Connect has even, just because she has it listed on her website that she's a Source Connect equipped studio, has actually landed her work. And that is true. It happens. You know, when you put out there that you're a pro and you show that you use professional software, equipment, and you've put the time, the effort, the money into learning them and setting them up, it just paints a picture of professionalism. And, you know, that is something that will help you win the gig. It's going to be your talent that gets attention, but those things can make a difference when they're thinking about who to book on a job. So Source Connect is one of those tools in your toolbox that screams, I am a pro voiceover actor. There's just no doubt about it. Now, to use it, you have to learn some basics. You have to learn how the system works, how to set it up. And you do have to have a good sounding studio, right? Just having Source Connect doesn't mean you have a pro sounding studio. You need to have that sorted out. There is so much to learn. We do this on the show every week and teach you what it takes. But at the very least, have a demo and have a license set up, at least a demo license under your name. So you're in their system. You're showing up as a user. Very, very important. And just go to source-elements.com and get started. Get that 15-day free trial and start using it and tell them we sent you. We'd appreciate it. Anyway, we'll be right back to wrap it up right after this.
This is the Latin lover narrator from Jane the Virgin, Anthony Mendez, and you're enjoying Dan and George on The Voiceover Body Shop.
All right, and we're back, and our thanks to Valentina Latina. Very interesting. You wouldn't know that they're looking for English voices down there. So
I know. Thanks to Dave for the question, and thanks to her for that gold answer with some good information. So that was excellent.
What a delightful young lady. Thanks for being with us tonight. Well, let's see. Next week on this very show, if you happen to be here or stay alive with us for a little bit, is Tech Talk number 74. And George and I have lots of cool stuff to talk about. And, of course, we're happy to take your questions.
Show off a new piece of gear, which you've been listening to the whole show so far.
Ooh, and it's been working great. Who are our donors of the week? A lot of familiar names there.
Should we tag team?
Absolutely. Like we'll start with Philip Sapir,
Thomas Pinto,
Shelley Avellino,
George A. Whitam, my dad,
Brian Page, great actor,
Patty Gibbons,
Rob Ryder,
Greg Thomas,
a doctor voice, which is, I believe, Dr. Nathan Carlson.
I believe so.
Right.
Antland Productions, Uncle Roy,
Shanna Pennington Baird,
Martha Kahn,
Don Griffith,
Trey Mosley,
Diana Birdsall,
and Sandra Manwiller.
Yeah. Speaking of Martha Kahn, she's going to be joining us in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Talk about getting your kids into voiceover, because that's
right.
She
is lit. She's on fire doing kids voice acting coaching and stuff. It's
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah. We need to thank our sponsors, of course, like Harlan Hogan's Voiceover Essentials,
Voiceover Extra,
Source Elements, the makers of Source Connect,
VOHeroes.com,
VoiceActorWebsites.com, and
JMC
Demos. Our thanks to Jeff Holman for being here and getting the chat room working right and getting those questions to us. Our amazing technical director who had to ride her bike today, so we couldn't be in the studio. But
I'm jealous. I haven't ridden mine in like a week.
Yeah,
Good for you.
I'm going to get on mine too. Sue Merlino, thank you for the great work you do. And so that's going to wrap it up for VoiceOver Body Shop this week. Stay tuned because we're going to record Tech Talk number 74 right after this. We want your questions, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we'll wrap it up here. I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whitam.
And this is VoiceOver
Body Shop.
Or VOBS.
Tech Talk. Tech
Oh, wait, Tech Talk's next time.
No, Tech Talk's next. No.
I'm just teasing. I had two buttons to press.
And you
I
pressed
the wrong
wrong button. See, we've got buttons. We can do all sorts of stuff here. Like, we can. Holy fucking shit!
Wow.
Whoa! Not that button! Not that button!
See, that's why you should watch this live. You never know what you're going to.
You never know what you're going. You never know what you're going to. It's like a box of chocolate. You don't know what you're going to get. Anyway, alrighty, we've got Tech Talk. Hey, if you've got questions about voiceover gear or any of that stuff, now's the time to throw it in there. So, all right, Sue, we're ready to roll for another hour here of absolute insanity. So, whenever you're ready.
4, 3, 2.
Hey, it's time for VoiceOver Body Shop Tech Talk number 74. Tech Talk number 74. How is it we've done 74 of these? And we don't run out of stuff to talk about. We just keep going. I mean, there's always going to be something new to talk about, but well, you got a few things in your Tech Talk or your tech update this week.
Yeah, rather than a whole laundry list of news, I was just going to give a little update about my Revelator IO24, a new IO44 that just came out that might replace my IO24, and a more in-depth demo, essentially, which I'm using right now, the Centrance Portcaster. So
Cool.
We'll show that off and what that's about, and who would want that.
That's right. And I've got something. People are always complaining about Rumble. So we're going to talk about rumbling and how to fix that. And we're going to answer your questions that you're now going to put in our chat room so we can answer them. Anything at all with VoiceOver Tech, George and I will give you the right answer, or at least convince you it's the right answer. So stay tuned. It's time for VoiceOver Body Shop Tech Talk right now.
From the outer reaches, they came, bearing the knowledge of what it takes to properly record your voiceover audio. And together, from the center of the VO universe, they bring it to you now. George Whitam, the engineer to the VO stars, a Virginia Tech grad with the skills to build, set up, and maintain the professional VO studios of the biggest names in VO today. And you, Dan Leonard, the voiceover home studio master. A professional voice talent with the knowledge and experience to help you create a professional sounding home VO studio. And each week, they allow you into their world, making the complex simple, debunking the myths of what it takes to create great sounding audio, answering your questions, showing you the latest and greatest in VO tech, and having a dandy time doing it. Welcome to VoiceOver Body Shop Tech Talk.
VoiceOver Body Shop Tech Talk is brought to you by VoiceOverEssentials.com, home of Harlan Hogan signature products, Source Elements, remote studio connections for everyone, VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your VO website isn't a pain in the butt, VOHeroes.com, become a hero to your clients with award-winning voiceover training, J. Michael Collins Demos, when quality matters, and VoiceOver Extra, your daily resource for VO success.
And now, live to drive from their super secret clubhouse and studio in Sherman Oaks, California, here are the guys.
Well, hello there. I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whitam.
And this is VoiceOver
Body Shop,
or VO BS Tech Talk. Tech Talk. Now you hit the right button. Tech Talk. Tech Talk. All righty. Well, we're here to talk about home voiceover studios. Yeah, and again, 11 years ago, and we're going to be in our 11th anniversary in just about a month. Believe it or not, actually, in 3 weeks, March 22nd marks the 11th year we've been doing this show.
Wow.
Yeah, and someone said, who's going to want to watch a show or listen to a show about home voiceover studios?
Well, luckily we find other things to talk about, too.
Well, that's true, fortunately. But we're still here, still doing it, and we still love having you here, and we love having your questions. If you've got a question about home voiceover studio tech, a piece of gear, or a problem you're having, throw it in the chat room, and we will be happy to answer it in just a little while. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I guess if you're just joining us for the first time, boy, you've missed 74 of these, or 73 of these. You got a lot of catching up to do. And, of course, our other show where we're interviewing great guests. But George and I are home voiceover studio consultants. We're the only guys that really do this full-time. This is what we do. I mean, I'm also a full-time voice actor and stuff, but George is an engineer. I mean, as the intro says, he's a Virginia Tech grad. I mean, that's got to be worth something, isn't it?
I have the paper to prove it on the wall.
I gotta get all my sheepskin behind me here too. And if you have a problem with your home voiceover studio, or if you have no idea what on earth this involves, and you need to talk to somebody who can actually teach it to you from the ground up, so all you have to do is hit record and be a voice actor, we're the guys to talk to. We make it simple. We understand the basics of what it takes to have a home voiceover studio. People are so intimidated by it. And it's like, it's technology, it's computers. You talk to us, it's none of that. Well, a little bit. If you know how to turn your computer on, that helps. But we're here to teach you how to do it properly, and we do it professionally. And if you'd like a consultation with one of us, you can talk to us personally and actually have us, if you're in LA, we can actually come to your house. We love making house calls. But we can do it wherever you are. I have prepared studios in Egypt, in the Philippines, all sorts of places just over Zoom, because we're really good at it. If you want to work with George, where do they go?
They head on over to georgethe.tech, and that's where all my tech support is. You can check out the menu on the top of the site. Yeah, currently the site is a little bit of I like to call it a Greek restaurant menu of services. There's a lot on there.
I have to get out my bazooki now.
Those restaurants are made. They have like a 15-page menu, right, of like what they make. We do a lot of stuff. If you're not sure what to do when you first get to the site, I would recommend you start with one of two things. Either get a sound check, and that's the way you just send audio to me, and I give you feedback on the audio quality, not your acting and not your processing, but your audio, raw audio. And you can also, really, if you've got more than one question you need answered, just sign up and get a consultation. It's right there on the tech services area. There's studio consultation and tech support. Click on that in the menu. That's where most of you will need to start, so we can assess what your needs are and really get a lot of questions answered right in that first 30 minutes. I mean, we make a lot of progress quickly, especially the more prepared you are, the more we get done. So that's how you work with me. But Dan does a similar thing over at
homevoiceoverstudio.com, and go on over there. That site is almost ready. It's like this close. We're moving.
I'm jealous. I'm just getting started, but we're rolling.
The specimen collection cup will be moved to the top, so it'll be easy. You go to homevoiceoverstudio.com, and it'll be, oh, there's a specimen collection cup. And
people come to me and ask me, George, do you have a specimen collection cup? They've heard
yes, but it's not for audio.
Right.
Yeah, mine's a Dropbox. Give me a sample of audio. You're going to click on it. It's going to give you very specific instructions of what I want to hear. And usually, it's $25, and usually within 5 to 10 seconds, I can very quickly determine whether it's got the right stuff or there are issues and things that you can fix. The fact that you're actually sending a sample means that you have the equipment. And if you've got the equipment, that's one of the most important things, because, of course, having it is not the same as knowing how to use it. And that's one of the things that, that I do is I will teach you how to use it, so you will not be intimidated by it. You will love it and go, oh, record. Where's the script? And do your thing. And that's what I like doing. So go on over to homevoiceoverstudio.com, and all your problems will be solved, at least when it comes to your voiceover technology. So why don't we proceed now? What's with your tech update this week? Not a lot of stuff, but I think you're probably going to talk a long time about a couple of things as opposed to a little bit about a lot of things.
Yeah, a little bit more in depth this week. I thought I would, because I got something new, and it's nice to use a product. It's nice to receive products to review that we can really actually use on the show, not just use for demo, but really put to the test in a real world situation. And that's exactly what I'm doing tonight. So first of all, real quick, I'll give you a little update on my Revelator.
We're talking about the Revelator again?
I've had issues with the Revelator. I started Googling, getting tech support. I've reached out for a ticket with Personas. In the meantime, found out that they pushed out another Revelator called the IO44. And the IO44 seems to be more like the product I'm about to talk about, the Centrance Portcaster. And it's still using all that software DSP. It has that fancy mixer on board. But now instead of 2 mic preamps, it has one. And on the second channel, where it would normally have another mic, it's just a line input. But interestingly, it also has a headset input. So on the front, the headphone jack is actually a headset jack, meaning it's TRRS. So you could plug in a gamer headset or a lav microphone setup, or even just an Apple headset. Now, I don't know what production scenario would be where I would use this. It's just another interesting feature built into this unit, and just the line input on it alone is going to make it a little bit more useful. But that's the IO44. It's coming at some point. I haven't gotten to test it yet. But if it has a fix for some of the oddities that are happening with my IO24, if they, push this new one out with a better firmware, whatever it is, I'm game to give it a shot. But in the meantime, a totally different direction on how to create an audio interface, mixer, recorder, phone patch, all-in-one device is the Centrance Portcaster. And Michael Goodman, who Dan and I have known really for a really long time, because
quite a while.
Over 10 years ago, he came out with the Mic Port Pro. It's just such a well-loved device because of its sheer simplicity, super portability, and sound quality, right? And it just became a staple in everybody's portable kits. I still have at least 2 of them that are still working in various locations, like depending on what I'm doing. But anyway, that thing has evolved and turned into new products. And eventually he came out with the Mixer Face, then the Mic Port Pro 2, the Mic Port Pro 3, and now the Centrance Portcaster, which comes in just the same basic plain cardboard box.
It's the cardboard box isn't going to help a whole lot.
A simple cardboard box. Nothing fancy here, right? What's fancy here is what's on the inside with these things. But you get a really. The original gear came out with a single-sided or two-sided 3x5 manual. This goes a little bit deeper. It actually unfolds. So here's the whole manual.
A couple extra pages there.
That's the whole manual right there. It covers almost everything you need to know, but there's still a few little things to unlock, and that's what you're going to learn by using it. But anyway, see if I can pick it up without actually interrupting the show. There it is.
So far, so good.
The Portcaster. So it's got 2 microphone, proper XLR balanced, preamped, and phantom power available microphone inputs. That's similar to the Mixer Face. But it also has an additional input that's called the phone input. Now, it also can just serve as a normal line input, but it also works as a mix minus. Not really legible, but it says that in tiny letters, mix minus.
Explain what a mix minus is for those people.
Yeah, so a mix minus is, here's something we're all used to Skype and these phone conferencing apps that try to remove the loop, right? Zoom, remove the echo, right? So they're doing all this fancy signal processing to remove the echo. That's the sound of your voice that goes out and comes back to you if their setup has speakers, right? But in the pro audio world, we do not like echo cancellation. We don't want anything like that. We just want pure audio with no funky processing. And that's where a mix minus comes in. That allows you to send audio out or actually more accurately, receive audio from someone on a phone call or a Zoom or whatever, and then send your audio back, but making sure their audio isn't being sent back to them. This is really important for clean phone patch type sessions where you want them to hear you and you hear them, but nothing get mixed together, no echoes, things like that. So this does that. And the key element is that you need to plug in a device that has a headset jack. So in this case, I'm not using a phone, although that's probably the primary thing most of you would do, is plug this into a lightning adapter and plug it into your iPhone or if your phone still has a headset jack. If you have a phone with a headset jack, type it in the comments below. I want to know what it is.
Yeah, what are you, a Razor, a flip phone?
If it has an actual headset jack, if it's an iPhone 5 or something, this will plug directly in. But most of you will need a lightning adapter. So what that does is now your phone is the actual phone patch. And what's that mean? It means you can make calls, receive calls, hear them in your headset, and they can also hear you through your professional microphone. But that also means you could be running Zoom on your phone or Skype on your phone. And then now that separates the Skype and the Zoom feature overhead or complexity or whatever from your workstation. So if you're using, especially Windows users are going to love this because, man, we have had endless glitching, conflicts, et cetera, for anybody who's trying to use Windows with Adobe Audition or something else, and they're trying to use Zoom at the same time. It has been a nightmare for you guys, and I apologize. I wish I had the ultimate secret weapon to fix these problems, and as far as I can tell, it doesn't exist. So the closest thing to that is a Portcaster, because now your Pro Audio app is the only thing that's using a USB interface, and then your built-in headset jack on your laptop can be through this secondary phone patch cable right here, or actually on this side right here. So it lets you separate those two worlds out. Now, the thing that's amazing is I thought, well, every time I've tried to hook two cables to the same computer, I get interference. You know, if you try an analog connection and a digital connection or US, there's always seems to be something weird. Like, do you hear that sometimes, Dan? Like the USB whine or that just weird.
Or you might
sound.
get a grounding noise or something like that. If you touch the headphone jack on that, we're getting that.
If I touch this.
Oh yeah.
Or if I touch the headphone jack.
No,
the
other one. That one.
Beep.
Yeah, you're getting a buzz when you touch that.
Right. So this
don't touch
eliminates
that.
I'm not going to touch that anymore. This eliminates that, and also because another reason that helps is because it's self-powered. It's running on battery, which is an interesting point to make. The fact that it's on battery and it's saying that it's running low. It's flashing at me. So during the next break, I'm going to be plugging it in. But anyway, this allows you to have that separated audio signal just for communications, Zoom and whatever. And then your Pro Audio recording software is going to feed from the USB. And the thing that's even more interesting is it not only does that mix minus, but it also allows you to play things back, which is nowadays become extremely common. Can you play that take back? With this, you can. It's built in, the ability to do that. Now, there's the ability to control the mix of it, whether it's in stereo versus mono. You can control in your earphones how much of yourself you're hearing versus how much of there is coming back to you. All of this can be controlled with these 6 knobs on the front. And with a little bit of practice, it's really easy to operate. I've been using it all night, and it's been a really good user experience. But all that is amazing, but it also is a recorder. So
And it records. But wait, there's more.
Yeah, so you stick a micro USB card in this slot right here. You can see the power lights flashing saying, dude, you're running out of battery. And that's the thing. This thing needs battery, or it needs to be plugged in all the time over here. And I didn't find my power cube. I got to go plug it in during the break. But it's all built in. But you can pop a memory card in, hit record, and now it's also recording everything internally. And that's huge. That means you've got backup all the time, real time, while you're recording, no matter what happens on the computer. Loss of data, digital glitches, whatever wackiness happens on the computer end is not going to be affecting what's going on inside here. And I think that's a really great, awesome secret weapon. I know a lot of you may never use this, but it's just so nice to have that peace of mind. It also has a high pass filter and limiters on both inputs. So anybody who's used to having that feature on the MicPort Pro 2, the Mixer Face, or the MicPort Pro 3, that's here as well. So if I really hit my input hard, you'll actually see a blue light up.
I see that.
Hey now.
Hey now.
I even clipped a little bit right there. That blue light says you're hitting the limiter. I don't know if you can tell I'm hitting a limiter. I don't know if it sounds like I'm hitting a limiter, but it says I'm hitting a limiter. So anyway, that's a real quick overview of that Portcaster. There's more to unpack, but it's a very impressive device for its size. I think at the $500 US retail price, it's an interesting sweet spot. It's a lot more than a Scarlett. It's a same as an Apollo Solo, but it doesn't require any control panels, no software, no firmware updates, none of that crap. It just works like out of the box. It's all it's all hardware. It's physical knobs. It's mixed. I love that. There's just none of the monkey business that it comes with the Apollo console or any of those control panels. And I think that's really pretty awesome. I love the feeling of hardware that just works the way it was designed to come out of the box.
Yeah. So those of us that came out of radio are used to that sort of thing. I mean, what you were describing with the Mix Minus
this
is
basically more like broadcast quality
which is
gear.
What it's designed for. It's designed for podcasting, which is a workflow, for broadcasting, as opposed to voiceover, which is hit record, do your thing, and that sort of thing.
It's a podcaster's tool that also does voiceover type production really well too.
Right. Especially if you're doing things remotely. Yeah, and the Mix Minus is what we used to refer to in radio as the Q channel.
Right.
We got and I know this is totally dating myself. Now I'm getting an echo too. Unplug that. Yep. It's still doing it. If you want, you're going to queue up a record, which is why I was going to date myself. You put the needle on the record, and you'd have that in the Q channel while you were listening to some other song. And I think the battery's going on that, George.
The battery did die on that thing.
Doesn't take much to fool me. I'm going to talk about something. I'm going to give you a chance to get the power block for that in a second. But
are you hearing a little bit of electrical?
Oh, I'm hearing lots of that.
Yeah, see?
So make sure you charge these things before you demonstrate them.
I mean, it's a happy accident because I want to demonstrate. If you try to charge this unit from the same computer that you're using for the audio and everything else, this is what you're going to hear. So you cannot charge it from your USB hub on your desk like I'm trying to do. You need a separate power supply. So I'm going to switch that out in just a second.
Okay, cool.
While you continue your spiel.
Yes, well, I was talking about queuing up records, and you could go get the record queued up, and you'll see DJs do this too, and in clubs. Not that I've been in a club in the last 20 years, or more. Okay, and now it's gone.
I switched to the built-in USB.
Well, there you go.
I'm not using the phone patch connection anymore. It's purely digital, all USB. And is it clean?
Well, it's only coming from over here.
Oh, okay. So I'm
and not from over there.
I am panned hard left right now.
Yes.
Yeah, so if I turn this knob right here,
and there you are.
Cool. You can mix it from stereo to mono by a knob on the front of the unit. So
fun with audio.
But is it clean still?
Yeah, now it's great.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. So you can charge it on the same USB bus, on the same hub, while it's being used for while you use another port for recording. So that's great to know. That's good to know. You can charge it while it's being used noise free. Just don't use the headset cable on this the phone cable, the TRS, on the same computer. That's one too many connections on the same computer. So
just use one of these. It makes things so much easier.
It sure is simple. Yeah, this is not a simple device, but it's a Goldilocks between going the software way, where everything's on a screen with a touch screen and all this stuff, and the simplicity of a Scarlett. It's kind of like right in the middle between them.
Right. All righty. Well, I'm going to let you go find a power block while I talk about what I'm going to talk about here for a second.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, okay. We've talked about this before, I think, but George was mentioning, on that particular device that there is a high pass filter, and I get a lot of audio from people, in my specimen collection cup, and if it's in a home studio, if it's done in a closet, or like a PVC booth with moving blankets, there's something that is constant in people's audio, and that is low frequency rumble. You can't necessarily hear it. I mean, you can hear like the fan from your furnace or your air conditioner if you're close to something like that. But when you're recording, that sound is in there, and you will see it on the meter. And we want to keep our noise floor like under -60. And something like that is going to raise your noise floor even though you can't hear it. But I'm going to demonstrate something because I can. I'm going to share my screen here. Let me remember how to do this in StreamYard.
Any noise coming from me now that I'm plugged into a little power cube?
Not a thing.
Okay, good.
Share screen. I'm going to share this screen, and then I'm going to... Okay, very good. Just this guy. Okay. Are we just seeing my audition screen here?
You're seeing the audition window floating over your other... We see your desktop.
Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Rumble is easy to find. In Audacity, you can find it very easily. It's always it's down here. And you can see there's a scale over here that shows us the frequencies that our voice is at. And a spectrogram, you'll find this in Adobe Audition and in RX7. The reason these things exist is so you can see things that you can't necessarily see when you're just looking at a waveform. I mean, if you look at the waveform, yeah, you can see the rumble, over here because it's, there's a squiggle in the line. That line should be absolutely flat. But if you use the spectrogram, and what the spectrogram is, because a lot of you are staring at this right now going, what on earth is that? It is a graphic representation of the difference in volume in different frequencies. So the human voice exists essentially between, we'll say 80 hertz and about 10,000 hertz. Some people a little higher than that. But our voice really does not exist below 80 hertz. The rumble that we see, and if I play this, not that, over here, you can see in the VU meter that the noise floor is well above -45. Let me go back there. If I just highlight that and play that, you can see in the meter above that it's about -45. Way too loud. So we talk about a high-pass filter. What is a high-pass filter? It's really, really simple. It's called EQ. So you go into your effects and you get the graphic equalizer. Oh, that's right. You got... In Audacity, you got to highlight everything. So I'm going to highlight everything here. All right. And then I'm going to go into effects. And then I'm going to go into graphic EQ. And as you can see, I have it set like this all the time. Since your voice does not exist under 80 hertz, especially women's voices, which really start at about 100 hertz, you can cut off all the frequencies below that and tail it off a little bit at 100 here. And then all you have to watch what happens to that little red line underneath at the bottom of the spectrogram. When I click OK, suddenly it's not there anymore. And if I hit play and you look at the output level here, suddenly the noise floor is well below -60. And that's how you get rid of rumble. Now, if you don't have a spectrogram, if you're just, if you're not in Audacity and all you're looking at is this, you'll now see that over here, that this line is now much flatter. And if I play it again, look at the meter is not showing us any noise floor. So it's an inaudible noise floor that you're trying to get rid of. And using EQ. It's nothing sophisticated. It's simply what it is. Stop sharing screen.
It's amazing how often that is just the primary issue in a sample like that.
Oh, yeah.
If they say, I have a TLM 103, I almost expect there to be rumble unless they happen to have an interface, a mic preamp, that has that high-pass filter switch, like this Portcaster happens to have. I can turn that on internally and preemptively remove a lot of that. So
without
it's
it
nice
affecting
to have
your
if
voice
you
at
have
all. Exactly. All righty. Well, we got a pile of questions out there.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they just keep piling in. We like to see that. So we're going to have a flash round of Answer the Questions right after we take this break on VoiceOver Body Shop Tech Talk. Don't go away.
This is Ariana Ratner, and you're enjoying VoiceOver Body Shop with Dan Leonard and George Whitam. VOBS.TV.
Spring is coming, and despite what Major League Baseball decides to do, it's high time you got your authentic VO baseball cap. Top quality fabric and embroidery with an infinitely adjustable strap tells the world just what it is that you do. VoiceOver Essentials VO Gear baseball caps are 100% cotton chino twill, garment-washed, unstructured caps manufactured by StyleMaster, and feature sewn eyelets, pre-curved visor, and a metal adjustable tri-glide buckle on the adjustable strap. Available in black with their exclusive VO voice bubble design embroidered in red and white on the front and a bright red, as heard on TV logo on the backside. Show the world, or at least the people in your town, what your profession is. They're always a great conversation starter. VoiceOver Essentials VO baseball caps. Get yours exclusively at voiceoveressentials.com.
Hey, I wanted to tell you guys about Source Connect as I'm typing a text to my girlfriend, and let you know how important Source Connect is to your studio life if you're a professional voice actor. Who shouldn't get Source Connect, first of all? I would say if you are still using like a USB microphone, if you even have like a basic studio at home and say a closet, but you're in an apartment building and you've got sound of neighbors that you're often finding yourself working around. If you find yourself stopping, waiting for the dog to stop barking, or the noise from the neighbors, or noise from your own home, then you may not be ready for Source Connect. Source Connect means that to have a tool like that, your studio has quiet on demand. That means when this time of that session comes, the clients are waiting, listening into your recording. You're being recorded by a studio somewhere else in another city, halfway around the world sometimes, that whatever they hear from your mic is exactly what that microphone hears. And that is the good and the bad. So if you're going to get Source Connect, have a studio that's ready to work on demand, that you can produce quality professional audio on demand. And that's something you might want to talk to Dan and I about. Let's make sure you're ready to go. And then when we give you the green light, when we feel like you've made the investment and found a place to record, you're ready to go with Source Connect, and you're ready to enter the big leagues, because it is used by productions all over the place. Because for the producers that record and engineer your sessions, it saves them time. The audio goes directly into the Pro Tools timeline on their studio, and they're able to work and turn around things quickly, and they're able to get client approval on the fly of whatever that's just been recorded, and that's huge. Anyway, if you want to get a demo, head over to source-elements.com. You can get a 15-day free trial there and give it a try for yourself, and let them know that we sent you. And thank you, Source Elements, for your support. Let's get out of these commercials and get to this huge list of questions.
Well, hello there. I bet you weren't expecting to hear some big-voiced announcer guy on your new orientation training for Snapchat, were you?
This is Virgin Radio. Well, okay, we're not that innocent.
There's jeans for wearing and there's jeans for working. Dickies, 'cause I ain't here to look pretty.
She's a champion of progressive values, a leader for California, and a voice for America.
It's smart. It's a phone. It's a smartphone. But it's so much more. The files are ready. Don't forget to pick up the eggs. What time is hockey practice? Check out this song.
It's the end of the road for Rick.
It's just you and me, Rick.
When hope is lost.
The i8 from BMW. Who said saving the planet couldn't be stylish?
Hey, it's J. Michael Collins. Bet you think I'm going to try and sell you a demo now, huh? I think they speak for themselves. But I will give you my email. It's jmichael@jmcvoiceover.com. Now, if Dan will stop waxing his mustache for a minute, we'll get back to the show.
Before time began, there was VOBS.TV. Watch or else.
Oh, you caught me.
That's a voice of command right there.
Yeah, boy. Better listen. We got lots of questions here and lots of answers, which is why questions are so good. Why don't we start off this humongous list of great questions right now? One from Terry Briscoe. He says, okay, I'll be switching over from a USB mic to XLR. Any advice on how to make the transition smooth? And 2, how do you find your ideal EQ? Not your IQ. My IQ is already ideal. Interesting. I produce a podcast for some folks, and they had an actress on who was talking about how she's also a voice actress and was telling people how to set up their home studio. And she's like, well, you need one of those cable, the musician cable with the 3 things in it. I'm like,
musician cable. Yeah.
I'm like, if you're people are gonna talk about home voiceover studios to other actors, send them our way. That would be a lot easier because you'll never find a musician's cable. To me, a musician's cable would just be a G-string. Anyway, any advice on how to make the transition smooth? USB mics, George, some of them you can set the levels on them from the actual device itself, and others you have to set it from inside your software. The most important thing, because item number 3 on my, what makes good audio is setting proper input levels. And you have to learn, as we say, always in the green, always in the yellow, and with an occasional flash of red. Or
I say if you're in the green, you're a little lean. If you're in the yellow, let it mellow.
That's right. So, but you should be seeing both of those. So learn to use your meters, and that's probably the only transition you really have to worry about when you're using an actual interface.
If you're going from USB mic to interface, get a really simple one to operate. So you're not adding a ton more options and features that you're not familiar with.
Right.
Scarlett's are great. Steinberg UR12, UR22. We always skip a few brands, but there's others. The Persona stuff, the Audio Box IO, is it called the IO1 or I1 or something? There's a bunch of those simple 2-channel or even 1-channel interfaces. That's the direction to go for you. And then microphone-wise, we've talked a million times about the Harlan Hogan VO1A. That's a great starter mic. It's a great pro mic, to be honest.
Really?
If you want to save a little bit of dough, I have got an old-fashioned Audio-Technica 3035 here. It's been replaced with a 2035. $150 still. That mic is still only $150. And every time I hear it, it blows my mind that it costs that little. So you don't need a big investment. And don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, yours isn't the head isn't bent on yours like it is on mine, because we both have one of those.
Somehow managed not to drop it too bad. Well, there's a
little bit of a
right
dent
there.
Those things are made to hammer nails, though.
Yeah. And finding EQ, that is the part that is the golden years part. That it takes a while to get the skills together to have the engineering chops to know how to use EQ to tune. Not only just use it, but to hear the subtle differences. But Dan, would you say just start with a simple, what they call a graphic EQ, which is the one Dan was just demonstrating.
Yeah, I was just
showing
a bunch
of sliders, and just start going from frequency to frequency to frequency.
See what it does.
Up, down, up. Yeah, especially up. Start by going up, because you'll really hear that frequency boost. And you do that for a few 5-10 years, and you'll start to memorize.
you finally figure it out.
Yeah, you'll eventually memorize all those frequencies. You start figuring out where to move. Just, and that's just a basic place to start. But that does take quite a long time to tune your ears for that.
Yeah, and EQ is not something you really want to make drastic changes with your audio.
Yeah.
The thing is the idea is not to sound great. The idea is to sound like you, which we say all the time. And when you're starting to play with EQ and try to maybe make your voice a little deeper or something like that, to me, that's intellectually dishonest. You are who you are. You get hired for your ability to read copy, not for your production ability or your technical skills. As long as there's no background noise, there's no reflection, as long as you're not popping your peas.
Popping peas? What do you mean by popping peas?
I like getting plosives. You'll notice I have no pop screen and there are no plosives because proper mic technique, which is item number 2. Number 3 is setting your levels right. So if you get all those things right, generally you're not going to need to change anything in the EQ except maybe using a high-pass filter. And if you do, they're little tiny changes that George is really good at adjusting to get the sound, to make adjustments for the room, not so much for your voice. And, but there are some people that know how to use it really well, and they're doing promo and stuff like that. For an e-learning thing, you don't really need to be using a lot of that. So anyway, Jeff Holman's got a question here.
In bold type.
Well, he wanted us to see it.
That's right.
You go for it.
Jeff says, I found my old Marantz receiver cleaning out my closet. Man, that must have been a dirty closet.
Dusty old Marantz.
There must have been a lot of stuff in there. I used to hook up my turntable and tape deck to it back in the 70s and 80s when I was growing up. It is basically a huge paperweight now. Or can it be used for anything practical these days? There are audiophiles who find that some of those 70s Marantz receivers are still desirable, that they just do what they do really well, that there's some purity to the analog circuitry, that it's still really a great piece of hi-fi equipment. So if you have room in your home to set it up on a table or a shelving unit and have that hooked up to a pair of some decent two-way speakers, you might still enjoy listening to a record on that thing because it can sound great. Yeah. Other than that, in a studio situation, again, you could use it with a pair of decent quality speakers and have that be your monitors, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. It's probably too much going on there.
Yeah. Now, I picked up an old Yamaha receiver at a garage sale last year.
So did my dad. He just got one like a month ago.
Yeah,
Yamaha.
I mean, people are like throwing them out. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll take it.
Them away.
Yeah. And what I've done is it's the music system in my studio, not my monitoring system. I use Yamaha H2 studio monitors. But when I'm listening to when I want to really listen to music, I'll use that. It also is the audio for the TV in here. And we found that if you're sitting in here watching Jeopardy, it sounds amazing on an old Yamaha stereo. But my music system is my old, RCA radios back here. And I listen to, streaming music on that. And, it goes to 2 different radios, so it's in stereo. It's, But an old receiver, if both channels are still working and you can still listen to the radio or streaming music on it, they're great. They have a nice sound to them. The
There's
new ones,
something about it.
Yeah, especially old ones with tubes. Tubes are great for listening to music, not for voiceover. Alrighty. Grace Newton asks, I'm upgrading my shock mount, meaning I'm getting one, period. Any ones to avoid and or recommendations? Shock mounts, they're not expensive. They have them in different sizes for different microphones. There's this one that came with the Rode mic. Who makes this one? This is called the I can't remember who makes that, but maybe Rode makes it.
Right? You mean the shock mount?
Yeah, on this one.
That's the Rycote.
Rycote.
I mean, they're making their own in-house. They probably licensed it from Rycote, but that is a Rycote shock mount. Yep.
Yeah, shock mounts are important. It isolates the mic from noise. The best way to isolate from a lot of noise is to make sure your mic isn't mounted on your desk That can be a problem. So don't do that. Make sure it's either floor mounted or mounted to the wall, but not to the desk where your computer is. But there's simple ones. I mean, there's the one that comes with the Harlan Hogan one that, you just squeeze these two things and the mic, comes loose. And most mics most good mics will come with their own shock mount. So, but you can go to Guitar Center or one of those places or on Amazon and type in shock mount, and generally they're all pretty good.
I like the Rycote design. They call it a lyre, Lyre, because they don't have elastics.
Right.
So the elastics don't start sagging, and it's like a hard sort of a plastic material, but they don't wear out. I like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Big fan.
The cable for this thing's going to come eventually. We're talking to the people at Sweetwater, and they're like, yeah, they should probably ship the cable for that mic with the mic, but Rode didn't do that.
Isn't it just a normal USB cable?
No, it's a USB-C to Lightning.
Oh, that cable.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it'll work USB-C to USB-C, but it's a special Lightning cable that is not the charging cable. It is an auxiliary cable.
How about the camera adapter? Does it work with the
Doesn't
Lightning
work with
camera
well,
adapter?
it's supposed to work with the camera adapter, but my camera doesn't have any power to it, so.
Oh, okay.
That's not a self-powered one.
Got it.
Anyway, there was a second part to that question, and
it was about from Grace. Dan, what do you always say about performing better to get better equipment, rather than getting better equipment to perform better? Or was that what you said? Will you please reiterate that?
Okay. Here's the original quote that I've been using for about 10 years. You don't get great equipment to get work. You work to get great equipment. And, learn how to use the stuff that you have to the best of your ability. And then when you upgrade to something else, then you get to see why something's more expensive or anything like that. But we're not about getting expensive stuff. We're about keeping things simple. And if you get your environment right and do all the things that we tell you, having a great microphone is fine and dandy. But as George was saying, you have a TLM 103 and you're in your closet, you're going to hear everything else going on in your house. So more sensitive the mic, the more you're going to have other problems. So don't go hog wild on a microphone. Just don't buy a cheap one. So that's the actual quote. You don't buy great equipment to get work. You work to get great equipment. Because if you're working, they're going to hire you no matter what.
Right. Yep.
All right. Dave G's got a question. Your turn.
All right.
Tech question.
This one under, quote, if it sounds good, it is good.
Right.
Out of curiosity, I bought a TLM 103 clone. How do you know?
Yeah. How do you,
how do you know? I recorded some auditions, sent them out, and I booked a few. A nice space helps a lot, but still, it says more about the space than the mic and the technique. Yeah, I have to agree with that completely. We're still pounding it into you guys that the acoustics of the space, your mic technique, all of that has a lot more to do with that great recording quality you hear than which mic that the actor is actually using. But a TLM 103 clone, I'm very curious to know more about that company, who made it, and is it truly a clone, or is it just a mic that just happens to sound somewhat like a TLM 103? Good question.
Yeah. The 103, it's a great mic. I had one for a long time, but it really does, it reveals everything. It's a Neumann, for crying out loud. You can hear people skateboarding outside.
Yeah, it's a studio mic for great, super low noise, high accuracy recording, and we don't often have that in a home, so it's hard to get a great sound and really take advantage of its quality. Its $1,200 price tag. It's tough to get every ounce out of that mic.
Yeah. All righty. J. Horace Black asks, hey, George, can you show the position of the webcam? You mentioned that it sits lower, so it gives you better eye line for Zoom sessions. This is from J. Horace Black. That's part number one. Answer that one.
Okay. Let me see if I can make this work. So the easiest way to show the position of your webcam is to use another webcam to show. And it happens to be working at the moment, so I will do this. So I'll put this back here. This is my POV.
Oh.
This webcam has a sharp picture and horrible color.
Yeah,
It's just the color's wacko on this thing. Anyway, so right now I've got it right here. My proper, the one I use for the show. It's really hard to see.
I see it.
It's right between.
We trust you.
Yeah, it's right between the split of the two monitors. So I just moved my two monitors apart, and I lowered it down because I'm sitting about 6 inches lower than usual. Normally it's actually normally up there above the monitor, but it was so high. It was really creepy and weird. So that's where it is. It's between the two screens, and that can get decent eye line if you take the window of whomever you're speaking to and just slide that right up to the edge of it. If you're talking to someone looking at their eye line, it almost looks like you're talking directly to them. Not quite, but it's still better than doing this and talking to them like this the whole time. It's not quite as natural. So
right. Well, that's what the little light on there is. You talk to the light, then you're talking into the camera.
Yeah, I mean, if you're speaking, if you're on TV, you're used to training. You're trained and used to speaking into the lens, like I'm doing right now. If you're having a conversation, that feels weird. You want to look at who you're talking to. Now, I don't know what it is about me, and maybe this is true for you. The hard part is to stop looking at you. To stop looking at your own video.
I understand that, but
I don't know why. I look at myself way too much. I'm not that good looking. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, no, you want to look into the lens whenever possible and slide. If your lens is near the top, slide the video image of whoever you're speaking to directly below it, so your eye line feels close to what you're looking at.
Exactly. Let's see. Hit a part 2. Hey, George. Boy, Jay Horace Black likes to ask you questions.
Hey, George.
Are you still doing the TikTok Fridays for previous clients? If yes, what's the time and how does it work?
Maybe someday I'll get on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok yet. I don't have a strong gravitational pull towards TikTok, but no, there is a Clubhouse. So if you're on my mailing list on my website, then you are getting you've gotten a subscription. You got an email that gives you the info on how to get to my. Let's see, Monday at 10:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. is when I do my client-only TikToks. So for some reason you don't know how to get access to that, send me an email, george@georgethe.tech, and I will get you the link.
All righty. Question from Daniel Britt. Says, do you recommend using a small curved pop screen on the 416 for spoken voiceovers? I've never heard of a non-spoken voiceover. I mean, kind of a
shouted
weird
voiceover.
A shouted voiceover, yeah. 416 is a very interesting microphone. It can be used in many ways. I mean, it's designed to be a video microphone as a standoff microphone for video on set. But they also discovered that if you use it close up, it sounds great for promo. If you use it fairly close and at the right angle, about 45-degree angle, facing, pointing towards your chin or your chest, and you have it, at this height, maybe I could demonstrate with this one better. Take off the clown nose. It should be at about a 45-degree angle in front of you, like that, and don't talk directly into the diaphragm. If you don't talk directly into the diaphragm, you don't really need a pop screen. A lot of people, they'll put one of these on there, except, of course, this thing is called a wind screen, not a pop screen. And the fact of the matter is it's not windy in your studio, unless it is. Because that's really what it's built for. It doesn't really stop plosives all that much. Mic Technique does a whole lot more for dealing with plosives. So I would say you can get one of the Hook Studio triple screen ones if you're doing promo and you're talking directly into the mic, and you need that plosive control. But for the most part, and of course there are people who say absolutely you got to have a pop screen. I'm like, fine, go use your pop screen. Your turn.
All right.
Somebody just peeled out around the corner.
Whoa. That actually made it all the way over here. I heard that. 2 more questions. We'll slip in here real quick. Mike Max Goldberg says, I recently picked up an iRig Pre 2 for podcast interactions and such. Not for voiceover, of course. What do you guys think of that unit? That's made by IK Multimedia. They make all kinds of little interesting gadgets, and most of them I've always found to be missing something I needed. Something about either sound quality, proper monitoring, or something. I have not demoed or used the iRig Pre 2, so I cannot speak on its quality or features. So I'm sorry, I don't know. But if it does everything you need it to do, and it doesn't have a lot of hiss, it's probably a good unit. I just haven't used that particular one. So
IK Multimedia makes good stuff. I mean, the original stuff was like, it was like, a cheap Mic Port Pro, and they would be hissy, but their later stuff was a little bit better. So
it's gotten better. Their quality is upping, is getting better all the time. I agree.
All right. Our final question tonight from Ann Christ. This is a great question because it's like, okay.
I know who this is, and it ain't Christ. It's Ann Grice with a G.
Okay.
Ann Grice.
Fix that. And
I know because she's my client, and I know the mic that she just bought.
Right.
And we're not going to have time to unpack everything about this mic.
But I have a simple answer.
We'll try.
Okay. She says, I just got my new mic, an AKG C414. That is an excellent studio mic, been standard in modern recording studios in the best
30,
places
40 years.
For years. Great microphone. I don't know why all the different configurations. Figure 8, snowman. Do you call it a snowman?
There's one called a snowman.
That's the figure 8 for crying out loud.
I think that's the hypercardio. It has a big circle and a little snowman. We're calling it snowman for Ann. Yes.
Okay. We try to simplify things so it's easy to understand.
I love it.
Cardioid and another one, which I think is probably Omni. Yeah.
Circle.
Also on the back, high Z DB buttons. Could he please explain? See, now this is the thing.
You explain the high Z and DB, and I'll explain the pattern buttons.
Okay. High Z. Well,
HZ.
HZ. A hertz. Oh, that's the pad. Yeah, that's actually the high pass filter we were talking about earlier. That you can cut it off at 80 hertz and below, and I'm not sure what the 414
I think it's
has.
got multiple.
It does.
I'm trying to remember because they've changed that mic so many times over the year. I think it has a 40, an 80, a 120. It's got multiple different settings for that.
I mean, you'll actually find a 414 on stage in a lot of places for live stuff. You might not normally do that with a studio condenser mic, but the 414 does that, and you will see those.
It's a Swiss Army knife mic, aka it has a lot of functions because it's used for a lot of different things.
Right, and the DB button is a 10 dB pad. There's probably multiple DB pad. That reduces the sensitivity of the mic, so you can talk louder.
Right, and then the pickup patterns change the way. It's like changing the lens on a camera. You go from a super long telephoto for a lot of reach to a wide angle lens that's omni, and that's to hear or see as much as you can. And that's what those different patterns do. And which one to use, that comes down to if it sounds good. If it is good, you had to try them all, record all the different patterns, and find the one that sounds best in your particular situation. It's probably going to be cardioid, hypercardioid, and in some cases, figure 8 is probably going to be is going to be one of those likely that will work well with your voice and your studio and your acoustics and your mic placement and your setup.
Outstanding. We got through all those questions and all the right answers. Can you believe it?
And we only went a little long.
A little long, but not too long. All righty. Well, we're going to wrap things up. We're so glad you're with us tonight, and we'll be right back to wrap it up after these messages, so don't go away.
Hi, this is Bill Farmer, and you are watching Voice Over Body Shop. It's great.
Hey, it's David H. Lawrence, the 17th, and we talk a lot in this business about moving forward with our career, getting more information. We often don't talk about simply getting started. It can be one of the most immovable objects in our life, getting out of our own way and just simply taking the first step. And if you're watching this podcast, Voiceover Body Shop, for some tips on how to get started in voiceover, or to change something about your voiceover career, or to increase your knowledge in a certain area, check out VOHeroes.com's Getting Started in Voiceover. If you go to VOHeroes.com/start, you'll get all the information. It's really cheap, and I give you a lot to get started in the business, but you might also learn something if you've been in the voiceover business for a while. VOHeroes.com/start. That's VOHeroes.com/start.
In these modern times, every business needs a website. When you need a website for your voice acting business, there's only one place to go. Like the name says, voiceactorwebsites.com. Their experience in this niche webmaster market gives them the ability to quickly and easily get you from concept to live online in a much shorter time. When you contact voiceactorwebsites.com, their team of experts and designers really get to know you and what your needs are. They work with you to highlight what you do. Then they create an easily navigable website for your potential clients to get the big picture of who you are and how your voice is the one for them. Plus, VoiceActorWebsites.com has other great resources, like their practice script library and other resources to help your voiceover career flourish. Don't try it yourself. Go with the pros. VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your VO website shouldn't be a pain in the you-know-what.
This is Bill Ratner, and you're enjoying VoiceOver Body Shop with Dan Leonard and George Whitam. VOBS.TV.
Well, another hour has gone by like that.
And now that I have a more comfortable chair to sit on, it's been a lot more comfortable to be here for that hour.
You weren't standing.
And the preceding 2.5 hours before, 3 hours or whatever it was.
I'm enjoying my X chair so much. It is so comfortable. Anyway, next week on this very show, we have David Kay. Will be joining you. You know, who's I just fixed his old radio. And you just built his new studio.
Oh, so. Man. He keeps me busy, that guy.
Yeah. So he'll be joining
He's got
us.
a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's awesome, though. He's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then we'll do Tech Talk number 75 the week after that. And then Martha Kahn is going to join us and talk about getting your kids to be in voiceover. Let them pay the rent, for crying out loud.
Hey, how's my audio? You haven't mentioned anything. Is it clean? No
it sounds
noise?
Great. Sounds great.
Right, so now I've switched back to the headset jack on the Portcaster Pro.
Yeah.
Right? No longer USB.
Yep.
And it's charging, but this time it's charging from a power cube, not from the computer also. So that seems to work great. Just there you go. You got to find out in real life if that will work. So I'm glad to see that.
All righty. Our donors of the week, we have Philip Sapir.
We have Thomas Pinto.
Shelley Avellino.
George A. Whitam.
Brian Page.
Patty Gibbons.
Rob Ryder.
Greg Thomas.
A Doctor Voice.
Antland Productions.
Shanna Pennington Baird.
Martha Kahn.
Don Griffith.
Trey Mosley.
Diana Birdsall. We miss Diana.
Yeah, and Sandra Manwiller.
All righty. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. We need, of course, to thank our sponsors, too, like Harlan Hogan's Voiceover Essentials.
Oh, we have VoiceOver Extra.
Source Elements.
VOHeroes.com.
Voice Actor Websites. And
JMC Demos. Can I slip in a plug real fast?
Please, go for it.
Thanks. I'm doing a webinar on Isotope. It's March 8th, so by the time you hear this, there'll still be time. Just enough time to sign up, because it will be tomorrow if you're watching it. The recorded version, if you're watching it live, it's next week. But March 8th at 3 p.m., March 8th, 3 p.m., you can sign up at georgethe.tech/webinars. You'll see the sign-up link on that page, and hope to see you there.
All righty. We need to thank Jeff Holman, doing a great job getting all those questions into the chat room tonight. And, of course, Sue Merlino, our crack technical director, getting it right, doing all the things that need to get done. And, of course, Lee Penny for just being Lee Penny. Come visit us, Lee. That's going to do it for us tonight. You know, this is not an easy business. Everybody's intimidated by the technology. Look, we're here to help you out. Make sure that your sound is good. Because if it sounds good,
it is good.
I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whitam.
And this is Voiceover
Body Shop.
Or VO. BS.
Tech Talk.
Tech Talk. Tech Talk. Tech Talk.
Jeff, you were early that time. Come on, man.
All right. We'll see you next week, guys. Have a great week.
Good night. Thanks for listening.